Hey, what's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be diving into the current Mayhem 10 drop rates and seeing if they're good enough for how difficult it is. To get a better understanding of if they are, I'll also be comparing them to the old Mayhem 4 drop rates prior to Mayhem 2.0. I'll be comparing total legendaries dropped, dedicated drops, and anointed drop rates over 100 kills across the Rampager and Graveward. Of course, a larger sample size would be nice, but that's all the data I had from old Mayhem 4 and, well, I can't go back. In saying that, the results are pretty conclusive and they'll answer some of the more pressing questions about Mayhem 10. And do let me know how you feel about the current Mayhem drop rates in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you dropping a like. It did take a while to collate all this data, and a like would tell me it was worth it, and let's dive in. So we'll start with the old Mayhem 4 drop rates, the ones prior to Mayhem 2.0, then we'll move to the current Mayhem 10 drop rates before comparing them and giving a verdict at the end. So prior to Mayhem 2.0, on Mayhem 4 I received a total of 135 legendaries from the Rampager, 58 of them anointed, and 11 in his dedicated loot pool. On average, that's 2.7 legendaries a kill, with 43% of them anointed and a 22% chance to get a dedicated drop. Looking at Graveward, I received 143 legendaries, 52 anointed legendaries, and 15 dedicated items. That means 2.86 legendaries a kill on average, with 29% of them anointed and 30% chance to get a dedicated item, like say the lob. On Mayhem 10, when farming the Rampager, I received a total of 233 legendaries, with 174 of them anointed and 14 dedicated drops. That's 4.66 legendaries on average, with a 28% chance to get a dedicated drop per kill. However, everything that could drop anointed did, and that was 74% of all the legendaries I got. For Graveward, I received a total of 227 legendaries, with 168 of them anointed and 22 dedicated drops. That's an average of 4.54 legendaries per kill, a 44% chance of getting a dedicated drop each time, and 75% of everything that dropped came anointed, because the other 25% were either class mods, artifacts, or skins, just like for the Rampager. That dedicated drop chance is high, and I feel that's a result of his loot pool containing 2 artifacts and a shield, because the lob only dropped twice. So all up on the old Mayhem 4, I received 278 legendaries in total, with 110 of them anointed and 26 of them in either Graveward or the Rampager's dedicated loot pool. That's an average of 2.78 legendaries a kill, with a 39.6% chance of a legendary dropping anointed and a 26% dedicated drop chance. Now, when compared to the current drop rates at Mayhem 10, which are the highest available in the game, you'll notice one similarity and a couple of big differences, and I'll keep the stats up on screen. The big differences are in the drop rates across the board, with a total of 460 legendaries, totaling 342 anointed items, with 36% of those legendaries dedicated drops. That's an average of 4.6 legendaries a kill, and 74.3% of them coming anointed, although every item that could did come with one. So with that all said, 4.5 legendaries per kill is great when you look at it, but it's actually not that important, and I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, that's 60% more than we were used to and suits the current difficulty. They're also always dropping anointed when they can, which is great and will help a lot when it comes to farming for anointed items, which are more important than ever in Mayhem 10. Dedicated drops per kill did increase from a 26% chance to a 36% chance, although I feel that was skewed by Graveward. But either way, that's just a natural increase with the legendary drop rates, and nothing changed with them at all. In fact, you're sitting at an 8 to 9% chance per legendary for it to be a dedicated drop, which isn't good enough, at least at Mayhem 10. It's also worth reminding that out of the 50 times I killed Graveward on Mayhem 10, I only received 2 lobs, and that's where I'm getting at when I say it's not good enough. Well, drops don't mean much right now, considering the game is poorly balanced and there's probably around 10 viable Mayhem 10 guns that you can get as world drops from roughly 200. All the viable guns are currently within the cartel members' loot pools or are dedicated drops from a select group of bosses if you're on Mayhem 6 and above. All those guns were newly added. For example, if you're after a Sandhawk from Katagawa Jr., you're not going to have a quick time, even on Mayhem 10. They simply don't change. Your only safe haven is in the increased total drops, up 60%, which can help you to get one faster, but the chance per legendary remains the same. Every one of the Mayhem 6 plus guns now are in a larger loot pool, so that just decreases your already small chances. At the worst end, it should be a 1 in 4 chance to get a dedicated drop multiplied by the number of items in the loot pool, which is typically 4 right now. So that's a 1 in 16 chance to get a Sandhawk. That's not really that good. For Kilovolt and the Monarch, that's 1 in 20, which isn't close to what it should be, let alone what it should be on Mayhem 10. Players don't just want these guns once, they want them in all the elements, and with the right anointments. Safe to say that's countless hours of farming, which to be fair is understandable in a looter shooter, but when that's the only way to get the guns you're after, it can put a damper on things. And saying that, the Mayhem 10 drop rates are good, generally speaking. Receiving 4.5 legendaries across the Rampager and Graveward was great, and having everything come anointed when it can will cut a lot of hours off your farming time. However, what isn't as good are the dedicated drop rates, which, although up 60% in principle, are still rare. This is compounded by the fact that many of the current Mayhem 10 meta guns are locked within dedicated loot pools, but here's hoping we get some weapon balancing soon. So that's all for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the current Mayhem 10 drop rates. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned how the current Mayhem 10 drop rates compared to the best drop rates we had recently. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.